Good time to be alive. Good time to be alive. Every day's a good day to be alive. It's all about perspective. I'm going to have a guest on here very shortly for today's episode of Chatting with Natty. And I am interested in talking about bodybuilding. Of all things, right? Who would have thought? Of all the things to talk about, we'd be sitting here talking about bodybuilding. Personally, as a storyteller and filmmaker and passionate person who is looking to change the sport of bodybuilding, the questions that I'm currently asking myself and the guests that will be joining me is, how do we make bodybuilding more entertaining? That's a question. To anyone listening right now, how do we make bodybuilding more entertaining? I've got some ideas, and I'm interested in hearing the ideas, concepts, and thoughts of others. Before I get into it, I guess I could get into it while I kill time waiting for my guest. I do have a specific guest hopping on here, so I am going to give him the floor, even though... it says he's live, so I don't know where he is. But we're just gonna keep chilling. My friend, we can always schedule another follow-up chat. I think that would be great if we do another IG Live in the future. To my friend who just offered a chance to hop on and chat. But we're gonna do that. In the meantime, just killing time. It's different for... there he is. What's up, my friend? And we are going to hop into it. There was a question. How was I introduced to bodybuilding? I found bodybuilding through nutrition. I learned the value of eating in a calorie deficit. And I got really shredded, and then I got into bodybuilding. What's up, my friend?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Good to finally talk to you.
What's that?
Good to finally talk to you.
Yeah. I'm glad that we were able to connect.
Yeah.
Super cool. Okay, so firstly, there's so many different places that we could start. Thank you so much for being on that Zoom call this past Sunday. Let's start there. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you got a great concept going on. I'd like to hear more about it, that's for sure. But yeah, it's something, nobody's done it yet. So innovation's great, isn't it? So I like your idea. It's a great idea. I heard a lot about what was going on through a lot of people talking. And I really like what Marshall said there. It seemed like he had a lot of knowledge too. And yeah, it was good to listen. And I sort of have an idea of what you're aiming for, but I think you got a great concept.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. If there's one thing I've noticed in the past 2 years that I've been working on this, I'm incredibly enthusiastic about the project, and I think it will be revolutionary for the sport of bodybuilding and the fitness industry as a whole. However, I'm observing how obviously I'm new to all this, and this whole concept of people just kind of sticking to the status quo. It's very... I'm discovering how difficult it is to change things within the minds of people in order to get them to move and behave and respond in a different way than what they're used to doing. For instance, if the current state of bodybuilding has been the enhanced side of the sport reigning supreme, natural bodybuilders making a tenth of the amount of a top enhanced athlete, and everyone's just fine with it. That's just the state of the sport, and everyone's just kind of moving on with their lives and not really thinking about should it be this way? Are we satisfied? And then an idea comes along where we suggest that what if we were to make natural bodybuilding more entertaining and more story driven and have it be a separate entity completely from the enhanced side of the sport? Wouldn't that be cool? What if we were to bring natural bodybuilding to the same level of the enhanced? Yeah, I guess it would be cool. But I'm going to go back to doing whatever it was I was doing yesterday. And it's I find it fascinating. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh, are you, have you been frozen this whole time? It's funny because you were looking like you were listening so intently. And that's funny. Mm. Okay, let me.
I heard you the whole time, but
Okay.
I think I was just frozen on my part. Uh, I,
Man.
I'll be honest with you, Shaun. I'm pretty new to it too. I'm getting in as, of course, I'm 54. I'm getting in my 50s. I've always wanted an avenue. I've always loved the sport, but again, like I mean, watching it, and I love your. I find a lot of people your age and other age categories really infatuated with the 80s and pre-internet. And I went to high school in the 80s, and I was a kid in the 70s, and I was in my 20s in the 90s, and it was amazing. But there was no avenue for anybody in the natural categories to even compete. So, I worked a lot of doors and a lot of concerts back in the day, and a lot of the guys competed, but they competed and they were on stuff. So I've always been a pretty big guy that I didn't have to do that. I never ever would. It wasn't really in my personality. I sort of, things came pretty natural to me, right? Like, so now that there's a natural category and it's growing, it's getting a lot of respect and it's growing. And now you got different organizations seem to be picking up on it. Now, in my age groups, I've got a great coach, and I seem to have gotten a lot of success really quick in my age groups. And then I've dipped down to the 40 age groups that I came in second twice, just missed out on my pro card twice. So I got beat by one guy, and then I got beat by another guy in two different organizations, and I was very close. So I'm just learning as I go along too. But I'm very intrigued with the natural side, and it's a learning process for me just as much as it is for you. And I'm shocked. I said because both sides are amazing. There's no doubt about that. Like I mean, it's entertainment, right? Let's be honest. That's what it's people want to be entertained. Like I mean, what you're doing right now, what you're trying to accomplish, is going to be entertainment. Like I mean, yeah. Like I'm along the same lines as you as I go there, and I'm like, well, it seems like I went to Pittsburgh, and there was a pro show, and then we were sort of integrated into the pro show, and they were all great. It was fantastic. But then you're like, yeah, well, the the natural side was sort of just, yeah, we were there. You know what I mean? It was fun and it was great, and it was all professionally driven, but they were there to see the people that were competing that were on stuff. Like, I mean, and I thought the people that were in the natural categories looked amazing. They really did.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious about personally. I want to take more time learning more about the streams of revenue, how like money goes in and out of the sport and competition. I'm asking questions like, all right, so let's take like a really big franchise like the NBA, right? And that's they're generating billions and billions of dollars of revenue from packing arena stadiums all around the country. They're paying their athletes hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Then you come over to the sport of bodybuilding, and the biggest prize in bodybuilding is like $600,000, and that goes to the Mr. Olympia, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then everything else kind of trickles down for there. Like that's the biggest prize for an enhanced athlete. And then it becomes more of sponsorships, brand deals, things of that nature. That's another way to generate revenue. But so far, when you consider the disparity between a top performing athlete in this sport compared to a top performing athlete in basketball or football or hockey or golf, I ask myself the question, why is that? And it's got to be viewership, it's got to be audience, it's got to be entertainment value. Basketball is more entertaining than bodybuilding, regardless as to whether or not you're enhanced or natural. So when I ask myself that question, okay, well, if I'm looking to make natural bodybuilding as relevant, if not bigger than enhanced side, then the question isn't, is natural bodybuilding ever going to be competitive against enhanced? It's the question is natural bodybuilding ever going to be as competitive against basketball or football or golf? Because who cares about the frickin' cash prize from the Mr. Olympia? They're not making that much money anyway.
Yeah.
if we're thinking about like the grand scheme of an athlete and an athlete's value, why are we even thinking about the Mr. Olympia?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Right?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you think natural bodybuilding, what do you think? What do you try and achieve at your age when you're doing everything natural?
Aesthetics. Aesthetics. You
What
know,
about
I
what about longevity?
love longevity. Love longevity. It's all
Like
about longevity. Yeah.
I'm 54. I was intrigued, and I think probably all of us that were sitting there probably you could have heard a pin drop when Marshall was talking. Like me, I look up to a guy like that. I'm 54, but he said he was 64, and I go, that's what I want to look like when I'm 64 years old. I would think that I'm what you want to look like when you're 54. Well, that's why we do this naturally, because I know lots of people that didn't do it naturally, and they don't look like me when they're 54. It's just the way it is. It's you know what I mean? Like, I mean, and it is a great sport on that side. It's fun to watch, and it's crazy how, but it's the whole thing with me is I want to live till 90. Like, I mean, that's what I want. And I think most people that are doing this naturally is that's what their thought process is you're looking 10, 20, 30 years ahead at some of the athletes that are still doing it. You're going, wow, they look incredible.
And I think you're hitting the core motivating factors of the mindset of a natural bodybuilding athlete. And I am in 110% support of that mindset. Personally, I think that's why I fell in love with the sport, because this is an opportunity to promote health and wellness and longevity in a way that no other sport can. Most athletes, they have to retire in their late 30s, early 40s at the top of their game. Whereas a natural bodybuilder, they have the opportunity to continue competing for decades and decades and decades. Marshall Johnson is competing in his 60s at the top of the level,
Awesome.
right? It's a super fantastic opportunity. And if we were to present that to an audience, to a person who has a competitive edge and has this desire to maintain his level of athleticism into later years of his life, they need to know about it. They need to know about it.
Yeah.
And I guess where I come in as a very passionate storyteller, and I want to change things. I think we're being undervalued. And when I talk to athletes like yourself, not putting you in a category, but I'm getting the perception that, like, and again, I don't want to like single you out, but I just get the perception that like you guys don't care about the fact that you're not being valued. And that's what I'm running into like this past year, where it's like I'm talking to these natural athletes, and they're like, yeah, I guess we could have a bigger spotlight. Yeah, I guess that would be cool. I'm like, well, let's do something about it. Like, don't you want to do something about it? You know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's exciting what you're talking about. It really is. And I think the biggest thing is on the natural side, there's no limit, because there's a trend right now. There are so many people in their 40s, 50s, 30s, 60s, 70s that, especially after COVID, working out's huge with those age groups right now. Well, natural bodybuilding is going to be appealing to them. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I would think that the enhanced side is only appealing to a certain age group, and it seems to be the younger generation, right? Like, I mean, but like the younger generations, when I go to the gym, it takes me a long time. I'm in the gym a lot of times, and I'm in the gym longer than I want to be, because people just want to talk to you, right? Like, you're an older person. They're coming up, they're going, how are you doing that? And that's what I think is great about what you're doing with this series and doing this is you're going to give a lot of secrets away when it comes to diet, when it comes to posing, when it comes to lifestyle. And this is a lifestyle. I know you probably had a good look at my Instagram. This is 2.5 years that I've held this physique. I don't bulk. I'm gaining slowly. I'm happy all the time. That's what you said though. We are content as natural bodybuilders. I think the enhanced side, if they lose, they're trying to figure out what the other person was taking, because they want to take it, because they want to match what they're doing. We actually put in the work, and we know we did the best we could for that moment. It's going to be slow process gains, right? Like, I mean, and I think that's why we're more satisfied at the end of that. That's what I feel, is I feel pretty satisfied no matter what I do and how they evaluate me, is because I know it was me versus me. I did everything naturally, and I brought what I brought, right?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I'm starting to become more cultured in the world just at large. I would say up until this year, I was kind of in my own world and own understanding as to like what the world and the universe meant to me. And now we fast forward, and I'm learning more about Christianity and Zen meditation and natural bodybuilders and things of that nature. And what I keep arriving at is an enlightened individual, a natural bodybuilder, a Buddhist monk, a Christian. They are sacrificing concepts of ambition, greatness, ego for a simpler life. And that, I mean, humility being a core personality trait amongst all these. Christianity, Zen meditation, natural bodybuilders, they're practicing humility. They're practicing self-perfection through discipline and doing the daily routine that's very simple, right? And what I'm coming into conflict with, I want to promote you guys. I think what you guys are doing is super cool. I would love to promote a simple lifestyle and health and wellness and longevity and like the pursuit of peaking yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually on a daily basis. I think all those aspects are what the world is missing. But what gets very weird is I want to put you guys on the big screen. I want to put you in IMAX. And when I talk about that, you guys are like, yeah, I mean, I guess that would be cool. I suppose I don't see the point because that's not the point. The point is you guys just get better every day. And it's like that's kind of the conflict I'm running into. It's very strange.
Ah, I see where you're coming from. Like, I think it'd be great. Like, I mean, I'm learning successes as I go along here. I'm learning more and more as I go along here, and I'm just absorbing a lot. Like, I mean, I find my age, I'm able to absorb a lot. I see things a lot differently than I did when I was younger. But I know Sam Bordeaux. He's in my area. Great guy. Like he, so like I mean, I sort of tipped off to you by him, and then I started watching what you were about, and I was like, yeah, yeah, he's seeing something that, wow, it's something that hasn't been. I don't know if it's been somebody hasn't saw it before, but like I mean, nobody's gone through with it before, and it is our lifestyle is very interesting, and it seems like everybody wants to ask questions. Well, why don't we bring it to them? Like I mean, nobody's done it before. They've done it on the other side, on the enhanced side, but they've never done it on the natural side.
So there have been two efforts made, and they didn't have me involved. So Mr. America, that was a competition, longest bodybuilding competition potentially in the world, established in 1939, and they've been doing annual shows since 1939. They just had their show a couple of weeks ago. They did a docu-series 2020 when the promoter Mark took over. I actually spoke to Mark over the phone a couple of weeks ago, and he gave me a rundown. And then Generation Iron, there are 4 Generation Iron movies, and one of them, I believe the 4th one, they did a natural Mr. America show where Philip Ricardo Jr. was featured in it. I don't know if you know Philip Ricardo Jr. He's actually your age. So they have done this. Every time I talk about it, it's like, oh, we've tried this before. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? Why did pumping iron work, and why did these natural docuseries and documentaries not work? It's the personality. It is the personality. Arnold Schwarzenegger went on to become a movie star. Let us not ignore that factor. Not only did he have a really nice physique, I think the physique comes in secondary to his personality. I think it was the personality and the environment, the culture that formed around Arnold Schwarzenegger that promoted him into superstar status. And the physique, if you even think about it, when he's in movies, his physique was downsized. His physique was smaller in Conan. His physique was smaller in Terminator. So it wasn't the physique. like, you know?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I always followed Schwarzenegger through his whole career. Like, it's pretty amazing what he's accomplished. But, you know, he had a hell of a product to sell. And everybody you're tapping into right now has a hell of a product to sell. They just have to sell themselves. That's all. And it's so easy to sell. So easy to sell. Like,
But
you
that,
could, the hardest part about this life is groceries are expensive. I mean, it's the truth. Like, I mean, because you're eating constantly. But so many people like to, like to talk about my age. But the first thing that my coach said, he goes, you're making it easy to sell out there to people in their 50s that they can gain in their 50s. And I'm like, damn right they can. I love it when people look at me and think I can't do something because I'm doing it. I'm not going to tell you I can do it. I'm just going to do it. But then after I do it, it's easy to sell it. And that's
And
what's going on.
I feel like that's kind of what brings it full circle, because I do agree that it's an easy sell. You're telling me that if I just do these things, I will improve myself on a daily basis. But it also brings me back to the point that I was making, that natural bodybuilders are already set in their ways where they don't feel like they need to come out of their set path to do further promotion. It's like we're the living embodiment of what it means to like stay focused and be disciplined and walk the path. Well, you guys are making it boring, and you're not doing proper promotion, and you're competing for like $5,000 grand prizes, and no one gives a shit besides you guys, and that's great for you guys. I'm so happy that you guys care. But listen, when I was 17, I didn't know natural bodybuilding existed, and all of this entire project is in service to the 17-year-old self that would have been so enthusiastic about this career path had he known that it was around.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like we're doing the future generations a disservice by just focusing on ourselves. It feels incredibly selfish. And I understand the humility, but I also feel like it's not a good value to be selfish and only focus on the contributions to our own gain just by doing like the same daily routine, getting the nutrition, going to the gym, just the same circle. We're not helping other people.
Yeah. No, I agree with you totally. And the one thing you touched on is there's a lot of natural athletes out there. It's do you not, when you compete on the natural side, it's amazing how friendly it is. Like, I mean, it is very friendly in the back. It just is. Like, I mean, and there's so many more natural athletes I find, even since I started to the last one I did. It's the numbers are growing more and more and more. And I agree with you totally. Like, I mean, the team concept you got going on right now, the different point of views you're going to get from different athletes, the things that when we did that Zoom call, the things that you touched on that you're going to talk about. Like, I mean, those are the questions that we're all being asked in the gym all the time, that we're spending an extra half hour, 45 minutes in the gym. I love talking to people. I go to the gym for that. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Like, I mean, with me, it's therapy too. Like, I mean, we all have our issues in life, but that's our therapy. That's why we do it. Yeah, I could pick us out in the gym, no problem. Like, I mean, we're there. But the extra 45 minutes, it's great. Now you're going to bring that to them. Like, I mean, and I really think you're on to something huge here. I really do, because all these questions people want to know, but sometimes they're afraid to go ask somebody because they don't want to monopolize your time, because they know you're in there throwing weights around and you got things you want to do too. But now all of a sudden you're about to bring it to them, and this is how we do it naturally. Like, I mean, we work just as hard, maybe harder, because we don't have any enhancement. And trust me, I will tell you, and I'm sure Marshall will tell you, I have to work twice as hard as you because of my age. I have the time, I have the energy, and the more I work, the more energy I have. But I feel and I know that I'm not 35 anymore. I'm 54. I have to work harder. Like, I'm in the gym 4 hours a day. That's what I do. It's what I like to do. But I love being in the gym 4 hours a day, right? But I like this side of it too. But I'm just learning about this side of it. You're on to something.
I really appreciate your perspective. I want to dive a bit deeper. So, have you participated in athletic sports before bodybuilding?
Yeah, I played sports all my life.
Tell me about some of the sports that you've participated in.
I played basketball, baseball, pretty well touched on just about any sport, right? I
Okay.
mean, just I was good to make the teams and was competitive. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So
And
perhaps.
even in my work, I work for the fire department. I'm a fireman, so it's a team atmosphere too. Always is. It's I've been there for 23 years, so again, there's no different. Just carries on from sport.
That's fantastic. Okay, so you're a good person to talk to. I am. I'm trying to figure out proper strategies to instill team values within this community that is blossoming from the Natty King project. And as I mentioned on the Zoom call, we have cast 10 athletes to compete for the title of the Natty King and the crown. And we will be casting a total of 30 natural bodybuilders to compete for the crown. And again, the intention is to discover the next sports icon to come out of bodybuilding, and it has to be a natural athlete. The idea is to have everyone on the roster, yeah, they see each other as competition, but they also see each other as, it's supposed to be an iron sharpens iron kind of situation, where in the same way that Arnold Schwarzenegger created that really cool vibe and culture in Venice, where he's like palling out with his bodybuilder friends. He's got Robbie Robinson, Ken Wallace, Frank Zane, my favorite, Frank Zane, and like he's got these guys. I want to create that vibe, that culture, that community online, where you've got the natural bodybuilders spread out all around the world, and they still have that desire to help one another improve while still fighting for a good cause, which is to properly promote natural bodybuilding and find that person who's going to do it in the same way that Arnold did it for the enhanced side. And I'm running into conflict because it's the new way of thinking about the sport. So, like, how would you suggest bringing team values to a sport that is not considered team-centric?
So when I go to the gym, this is what I find anyways, but there's two types of people in the gym. There's people that are standoffish, and there's people that get along, share things, like want to teach, I find with natural bodybuilding, when we get back, I'm with Tim Love out of Sarnia there. We're in Canada here, and Tim's a great coach, and he's got great athletes. Well, we're always there together, our athletes that Tim has, and then there's other coaches out there, athletes, and then the camaraderie back there is pretty good. So I think the camaraderie's got to lead into your show. It should be in the gym. This should be about learning. Let's face it, my genetics are always going to have a component in what my product's going to have. But the things we can learn off each other in a gym, things we can learn off each other when it comes to diet, things we can learn each other when it comes off to discipline. How often do you work your core? How often do I work my core? How do you work your core? I love when somebody's showing me a new exercise. I love it. And I know you probably do too. You're like, wow, I never really even thought of that. I think just those aspects, when you start getting into those conversations, then all of a sudden you get that camaraderie going, you get that friendship going, because there's that commonality of everybody's doing the same thing. It's for the better good. The final product's not going to be the same. Like I said, there's going to be a lot that goes into that. There's genetics. There's how hard are you working? How strict are you with your diet? That's all going to be individual, but I think the rest of it's all team. And once people get to know each other, everybody has workout buddies, right? So you're creating a 30-person workout buddy is what you're doing. That's the way I look at it.
That's exactly how I would describe it. Do you think, does it feel to you far-fetched for this, like the way that you're describing it, camaraderie, training partner dynamics in the gym, is it far-fetched to attempt to recreate such a dynamic online in the same way that we're doing it right now? Is that crazy?
No, I don't think it's crazy at all. I think, I keep saying, and I keep repeating myself, you're on to something right here. You get the right personalities, and I think you're in the hunt for the right personalities. And, you're probably going to have a little conflict along the lines, and you're probably going to have a lot of people getting along, and you're going to have individuals that get along a little better than others. But if everybody teams together for the same goal, and you have an ending to the story too, you got this competition at the end, and my biggest thing is, and if you go online and you look at me, you can look at me in the 40 and over. I placed second twice. I think I was happier for the guy that won than if I would have been if I won, because he just became a pro. So I lost with there's quite a few guys on stage. I came in second, which I felt really good about, but I lost to two pros, and I was so happy for them that they got their pro cards. Like, I mean, and I think that feeling was just there all weekend, like in the back with everybody. And I don't think it's hard to, especially I really believe in the natural category. I don't think it's hard to create good friendships. I don't, because we work so hard for what we're doing, and I really think that the lifestyle we're leading is such a clean lifestyle. And again, leading back, everybody's doing it for the same reason. We all want to live till 90. I want to be that guy when I'm 70 walking down the road and people go, how the hell are you doing that? Because I already am at 54. But 54 is one thing. If I'm 70, 75, like when you brought Marshall on, I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Dude's in some good shape. Like, and that's on camera. Like, I mean, you're like, wow, and that's me at 54 going, I want to be that guy. You know, everybody has heroes they're looking up to, right?
Yeah, no, Marshall, I had the pleasure of meeting him in person back in July, and I got to spend 3 hours with him, and I mean, he brought me to Christ, you know. So yeah, Marshall, yeah, yeah, I could. He really set the standard for what it is that I'm aspiring to do within my career. And when I think about it, it's like it's Marshall Johnson only with a bigger stage. I want to see the longevity that Marshall was able to achieve, only presenting it in like I love movies. Like this, I came to Hollywood to make movies. Like that's who I am at my core. I found natural bodybuilding. I love natural bodybuilding, but my first love, my first passion, my first hobby was filmmaking. Okay, so and like one thing like I've explained in the past, but like I love ensemble pieces. I think ensembles because I think it displays real life more closely than a main character structure. You know, like we're all playing the main character in our own lives, but real life, reality, this world that we share consists of billions of people. So an ensemble piece, an ensemble story shows a more accurate depiction of what real life on planet Earth looks like. So when I think of casting 30 natural bodybuilders, sometimes it feels almost overly optimistic based off of how I'm interacting with these people currently, that like I would like to create this perception that we are friends. And it doesn't matter that like we've never met in person. We're still all emotionally invested in seeing not only this project successful, but seeing humanity successful, because that's what this project is to me. In the event that like this becomes the global phenomenon that I know that it can be, it would suggest that there are more people who are pursuing their natural human potential over the use of taking steroids and performance enhancing drugs. That makes the world a better place, and it changes the mindset of every person who is subscribing to that value.
Yeah.
So I'm bought in, like, but I guess I'm still asking myself, like, how am I not reaching? Like, why aren't you excited as I am about the potential impact that this can have on the world? And like, I'm still asking, I'm trying to figure that out.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, I mean, you get it.
I get it. I get it
Get
completely.
it.
Like, I mean, even the fact that you're using technology, us speaking right now, like we're so far away. You're using this for your project. It's amazing. And like it's state of the art what you're doing. The only thing I would think is, and I get the feel that, am I wrong when I say that? Like you've talked about the fact. It's funny the other day when you mentioned Cyndi Lauper, like, and then you're like, well, there's the one coach, the one coach or manager from wrestling that was Captain Lou Albano, by the way. I could answer all your questions. That's the best part. Is I grew up in the '80s, but I just love the infatuation people have before pre-internet. So you can actually bring that enthusiasm to what the internet can offer nowadays too. It offers friendships so far away. Like, I mean, I'm enjoying our conversation right now. I'll be thinking about the next one. That's just the way. This wasn't available when I grew up. Like, it's crazy, but there was so much that happened when I grew up that was great too that will never happen again, right? Like, I mean, but this wasn't available. And what you're seeing right now, anybody who's not excited about this project, they're crazy. Like, I mean, because it will work. The only thing I could say is if you're starting all these projects, if you're really, and I watched them on TV all the way through the years, is it might not be bad to get a good host. Like, I mean, a setup guy to set up every situation that this is what's happening this week, and just to set things up. I can see your partner there, Marshall, doing that easily. He's got a real charisma to him. But every show that was successful always has a host. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what's going on this week. We're talking to, and they talked about this, and they cut into it. Like, I mean, that's the only thing I could see that would sort of take care of any confusion about what they're watching, even if they come in late, right?
That's very good feedback. Yeah, I think a host would be great. Yeah, definitely good food for thought. Marshall's a great candidate. Personally, I want him on the roster, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
He did say, like, he hasn't decided if he's going to retire by then. He kind of gave this really great analogy of you've seen Forrest Gump, I'm sure, right?
What's that? I didn't get that last
Forrest
part.
Gump.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that moment in Forrest Gump where he's
Yeah.
running and he's got the crowd of people, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden he just kind of stops running. He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm done." And for Marshall, he doesn't know when that time is coming. So as long as he's still actively competing, I consider him to be on the roster. But worst case scenario, he will be a judge of some sort, so either a judge or a host. But I definitely want his involvement. But I love it. Okay, this is good, man. This is good. Yeah. Are you familiar with the other athletes that are on, like, the team? Like, are you familiar with Oscar Moscat? And he just competed at the WMBF Worlds last year, competing against Babacar. He got second against Babacar. So he's one of my prestigious world champion level athletes who are on the team. And then we've got another athlete. I don't know. Like, I think I'm just thinking out loud of seeing your enthusiasm and seeing your clarity of vision in relation to this project. The question I'm asking myself out loud is, how do we take that over to the athletes that aren't mirroring it? And I feel like we can only do so much with what we have access to, you know? But I don't know. Yeah. These are the questions I'm asking, you know?
When you're looking in the mirror and you're wondering about enthusiasm, it's what's your enthusiasm for the sport? Like, you have that enthusiasm for the sport every time you compete, every time you're trying to get ready to compete, every time you're there. Are you taking it all in? I've done 5 competitions so far. Every competition, I've taken them all in. I'm like, who knows? I could get hurt. This could be my last one. I'm going to enjoy it. But it's also my age, right? Like, I mean, I just see things a little bit differently. Like, I mean, I had a tragedy in my life where I lost a friend from work not too long ago. It'll be 4 years coming up. And, you know, I went through some tough times, and then I found some clarity through it. Like, I mean, I quit alcohol completely in my life. I started doing this lifestyle a little bit more. I've always worked out, but I started taking it more serious, taking the discipline a lot more serious. And like you with religion, and I've always had religion, is I just started seeing clarity and I started seeing path. But I think you have to have that enthusiasm too when you're doing it. When I leave the gym, I think about coming back to the gym. I know everybody's not like that. People are like, I go to the gym. I'm like, I leave and I'm like, damn, I gotta go. You know, well, it's the same thing. Your project, it's got the same feel to it. When you finish the segment, you should be thinking about the next segment.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I think that I'm not going to say that it was a flaw in casting, because I'm still incredibly enthusiastic about the original 10 athletes who are on the team. But I think moving forward, it's going to be a huge prerequisite. Because, like, I would say some of the athletes, they've even vocally admitted that they're not enthusiastic about the sport of bodybuilding, period. That some of these athletes, they just do it because they know that they've got the genetic structure for it, and it would be like a disservice for them not to compete based off of you know, the gifts that they were born with, the natural gifts that they were born with. So it's like they choose to compete because of that. Moving forward, I don't even care about a person being enthusiastic about my project. Let's start with them being enthusiastic about natural bodybuilding. I think we should start there, and then presenting them the concept that wouldn't you like to do more with your career as a natural bodybuilder? Wouldn't you like to be a beacon for future generations so that they have an understanding as to like what it could really become? You know, and I think that's where we would start.
That's
Let
very well
me,
said.
yeah, let me pivot for a second. I want to pick your brain more. So athlete to athlete, and I love your passion for natural bodybuilding. I share it. Um, from a audience perspective, again, because I'm not even thinking about the enhanced side of the sport. I'm thinking about um, the most generating revenue sports out there: golf, basketball, soccer, like the big ones, right? I ask myself, just for fun, what would be required in order to turn natural bodybuilders into millionaires? And in order to turn this entire natural bodybuilding circuit into $1 billion industry, what would be required? I think of the closest that I can point to. It would have to be something that resembles a WWE product. It'd have to be. And WWE is storylines mixed with performance. Storylines mixed with performance. Basketball, it's just performance. Football is just performance. So when I think about WWE and natural bodybuilding, the storylines are characters, rivalries, origins, what each athlete had to overcome, and personalities, Arnold Schwarzenegger type personalities. So we've got that idea fleshed out. But then when it comes to the performance, what would be the most enticing, captivating, entertaining performance when it comes to natural bodybuilding, in your opinion?
Well, I think for when you get, I watch wrestling all my life. Like, I mean, there's been different chapters in my life where I've enjoyed it more than other times. But the big thing about wrestling is it never really grew, and it grew in the 80s like crazy until they advertised properly. Advertisement's huge. Like, I mean, this is starting this series, this segment. Like, I mean, but for the sport to grow, it's got to advertise. And Schwarzenegger was advertising the sport well before he was ever a multimillionaire or a movie star. He was the first polarizing person to probably do the sport to where everybody knew his name. Other than that, like, I mean, half the people knew about the sport, half the people didn't. They didn't know the names. Like, I mean, but they started advertising, right? Like, I mean, so advertisement would be the biggest one that sticks out in my mind. And then, of course, personalities. It's easier to advertise personalities that are fun to watch, that people are interested in. But I think the message also, like, I mean, I really believe that gyms are packed right now and people have questions. And I always tell people, best thing to do is you're coming into the gym for the first time, find yourself a personal trainer that you like, that you enjoy talking to, and learn how to do this, because there is a process to learn how to do this properly. Like, other than that, you're kicking tires. You're not eating properly, and you're in here every day, and you're doing things wrong. You're not going to get the results that you want. That's for sure. So, I mean, I really believe that the message, the things that are going to be talked about, along with the personalities, that people are going to be intrigued, because I think there is just a huge group of people out there right now. It's an overwhelming group of people that are into physical fitness and fitness right now. And yeah, you're doing this at the right time. You really are.
I agree, and I want to move quickly. So just to repeat what you're saying back, and also there was a comment in the chat. Ziz was a very polarizing figure at the very beginning of fitness influencer culture, and Jazziel, thank you. He just mentioned basically doing a movement similar to Ziz, where he was not a natural, but he did have he put a great emphasis on aesthetics. So he was taking performance enhancing drugs not to look like a Mr. Olympian athlete, but to look like a shredded, cut, shape, symmetry, lines, all that wonderful aesthetic stuff, right? And he really became he was essentially one of the first fitness influencers that became famous, and he became very successful. He died, unfortunately, due to steroid complications. So there you go. But if we're to take a look at his success, modeling it off of the fact that he was a character, and then playing these characters off of one another, and then, okay, yeah, let me ask you this. And I love where your brain is, and I love getting your perspective on it. I really want to build, if we're looking at the WWE framework where it's storylines, characters, and performance, I would really like to build the entire universe of this cinematic story around the object of the crown, in the same way that back in the 80s, they're vying for the belt. They want the WWE World Title belt, and it's currently being held by Hulk Hogan, or no, Andre the Giant, right? So he's got the belt, and Hulk Hogan is the face, and he's like, I'm gonna beat him. I'm doing it for America. And Andre the Giant is like, oh, you can't beat me, and like they're vying for this belt. I would like to make the belt, the crown, the $1 million cash prize, and what it represents. In the right hand, the crown will be a force for good, a force for humanity and natural human potential to rally behind and see their own potential. But in the hands of a morally corrupt person who might just have a really great physique and he's just in it for the money and the fame and the glory, I want the crown because, like, I deserve the crown. Look at me. Like, look, you guys suck compared to me. Like, of course I'm deserving of the Natty King crown, and I'm going to get it. And here's how I'm going to do it, right? And we can kind of create that polarizing opposition between forces of good, forces of self-interest. It becomes a matter of selfishness and selflessness. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, comic books are huge too. I like what you're doing.
Say that
I
part
really
again.
do. Storylines are really big. Comic books are big right now. Like, I mean, I get what you're doing. I really do. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think the trick will actually be, and this is what I'm running into, and I'm sorry if I've expressed some level of frustration during this chat, but I'm running into, it was never going to be easy, but essentially converting natural bodybuilders into WWE superstars. That's been the concept for the past year. That has been the concept. Easier said than done. Let's be honest. Easier said than done. WWE superstars, they have decades of frames of reference to point to as to like how they can tailor and craft their persona that will fit within this WWE framework. Whereas the thing that we're doing, we're basically asking natural bodybuilders who have been in the sport for years, decades, it doesn't matter, to kind of take their personality, which is very straightforward, humble, like, almost mundane, and go like, hey, we need you to, spice it up, at least interact, at least like hop on an IG live and just don't be boring. And like, that's easier said than done,
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. You're there. There's so much mental goodness that comes with this sport, especially in the natural side, that like, yeah. And if you're going to put it in the gym atmosphere, I can tell you, I know who's natty in my gym, and they're always smiling. They're always in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know a couple of guys that aren't natty in my gym, and you can't get a smile out of them. Like, I mean, there isn't that grumpiness. Most people are happy to be there, but like, I mean, to think that people aren't competitive, that's crazy. Like, I mean, like I think people are competitive. I think you want to be better. You want to win. You definitely do. I love the fact when I started this, I was like, when it got explained to me, they were like, okay, well, pro cards, they start at 40 years old. You can compete in the over 50. You can compete in the over 45, but you got to dip down to the over 40 to get a pro card. Well, in my head, I'm like, yeah, so I'll dip down on the 40. But I'm sure a lot of other people are going, well, you'll do okay in the 50 and over. You'll do okay in the 45 and over. Well, I don't compute that way. I got a competitiveness to me that, like, so what? I'm 54. I know my body. I know my work ethic. I know what I can do. So let's go do it. And there's some ribbon that goes around with the younger guys. Like, they come up and they ask me questions, and I'm like, well, just got to work hard. That's it. But yeah, I I don't think I've met any natural athlete that doesn't believe that he can do something, and that's the biggest thing. But yeah, they seem to have we all have a pleasant way about ourselves. Eh? Yeah, I don't know. Is that a bad thing though? Like, I mean,
No, I don't think it is. And I personally, I'm volunteering to play the bad guy for the rest of the community. So I can be the loud, arrogant. I don't like to use the word obnoxious because I've never, ever considered myself obnoxious. But I could definitely be arrogant and I can definitely be cocky. And I can definitely embody those core traits of what made Arnold Schwarzenegger so polarizing. And we can structure the story in a way where, as we see my physique continue to develop, because this is still year 2 of my career in the sport of bodybuilding, as we see my career, as we see my physique continue to develop over the next 2 to 3 years, and my personality gets bigger and bigger for the purpose of driving the sport to a conclusion of who will win the crown. We just have to find the right adversary that rises up organically, that embodies the actual core traits of what it means to be a natural bodybuilder, who is humble, who is focused and disciplined and pure of heart. And like that's the guy who's supposed to win, very similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger versus Lou Ferrigno. So the way that the story is supposed to end, I don't win the crown, even though I spend the next 2 to 3 years boasting about how I'm superior, all these flashy yada, yada, yada. I'm not humble. I've got a huge ego. That comes naturally. And we just use that storyline to show who the actual Natty King is.
yeah, that's got a good basis. It's got a
Yeah.
good basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get at that person. I get where you're saying who you are in this whole dialogue is you gotta have that person that's bringing stuff out of people too, right? Like, I mean, if it's all pleasantry, then you're not seeing sides of people either. You get some frustration in there, you're gonna see other sides of people. You're like, yeah, Sam Bordeaux, great kid, known him for a long time. I mean, but he's a nice kid. Like, I mean, but I know he can get frustrated. You want to bring that out in him. Like, I mean, you want to, people are going to want to see that side of him because that's the competitive side of Sam Bordeaux. You know what I mean? The serious side of Sam Bordeaux. Like, I mean, and he is a nice guy, but like, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's still a competition. Like, I mean, people have to have that edge or they're not going to win the competition. It's just the way it is.
And I think it gets a little complicated for me because it's it's WWE. It's like this is like performance art, and however big my ego might be, I've been walking around with this ego for my entire life. I've never had the desire to like present it in a way that comes off as brash or arrogant intentionally. Maybe I've done it unintentionally, where it's just I'm being myself, and someone will tell me, "Shaun, you sound a little arrogant right now," and I'll be like, "Oh, do I?" But to consider, okay, now I am intentionally turning it on and amplifying aspects of my personality that I know will be perceived as, who does this guy think he is? That comes naturally, but then to like take it a step further is it's stepping outside of my comfort zone and into a territory of this is now becoming a character of Shaun Fury for the purpose of telling the story and getting to the finish line, you know?
I think you're going to find you're going to bring out some sides of people where their characters are probably going to get into that point where people think they got some arrogance. And do you know what I mean? You start pushing people, they start pushing back, and that makes for good entertainment too, right? And it also becomes a pretty good learning curve. Like, I mean, I learn a lot of things when I'm frustrated. Like, I mean, I think we all do. When you're frustrated, you're more aware. So if something's not working, what do? You get frustrated. Well, you get frustrated, but you're learning as you're doing it too. But you get that on camera. That's pure passion, right? Like,
That's beautifully said. In your opinion, would it be permissible, smart, wise to warn the athletes? I mean, how many times should I warn them that like, hey, moving forward, this isn't me anymore. This is performance art. This is a character that is like I'm going to provoke you moving forward. How many times do I have to say that before each conversation? Because like they're not trained. I'm basically classically trained. I'm a basically classically trained actor. I've been acting since I was 12. And my goal is to go down in history as like Shaun Fury, one of the greatest artists, performers. Like that's who I am. Like I'm incredibly ambitious, and I finished in Hollywood. I finished as a movie star. So that's where my background is. How often do I have to remind these athletes that you're working with, like, this is scripted, this is entertainment, this is like to the purpose of generating heat, so to speak.
Oh, I would think once you say it once, they should understand it, right? Your project, everybody's going to benefit from it. If they don't see how they're benefiting, then they're missing the whole project. Like, I mean, the project will benefit all 30 people. Differently, but it will benefit all 30 people. But if you're letting them know once that there's nothing personal here, we're in a competition, and I'm gonna poke once in a while. It's just the way it is. You're gonna find those guys that are naturally good at poking back too. You know what I mean? You're probably gonna enjoy that.
That's great advice. You're making me actually feel a lot better. So, all right, I think my homework is to let the athletes know, like, hey, just so you know, I am going to poke, and I am going to provoke, and it's part of the character. I just like I know people are sensitive, man. People are way more sensitive than I am, and I guess I have this fear or this reservation of like turning people off and having them like run away or something like that. And I guess if that's what happens, and that's what happens, and you just keep telling the story and you replace the athlete. And I hate losing people. I don't like I've never told you that, but like I hate losing people. It's something I got to get over or something.
Oh, you're genuine. You're telling people right from the start that this is how we're doing this. Like, I mean, and if you're not familiar with wrestling, watch wrestling. Like, I mean, we all know that those guys are having a beer together in the bar afterwards. Like, I mean, and they're doing everything but talking about each other's families. Like, I mean, so if you're aware of that, you're letting everybody know at the start that there's nothing personal here. We're making entertainment here, and we're all benefiting from this. I don't think you're going to have a problem. I really don't. Like I said, you're going to have the personalities will unfold as you go along, right? Like, I mean, so you'll have your nice guy that you're not going to poke that much because you're just, well, it's not fun to poke a nice guy, but you're gonna poke some guys and they're gonna poke back. There's no doubt about it. It's gonna make for good entertainment. It really is. But sometimes the nicest guys are the most competitive guys too, right? Sometimes they're just doing more, and then they throw the one-liners out. Like, I mean, but you're right. Most of the entertainment, or not most of it, half the entertainment is going to be verbal, right? Like, I mean, it's got to be verbal. People aren't going to just watch a bunch of people work out.
Okay, this is great. And as we're coming to a close, I want to hit you with another question. And this is something I have a call scheduled with one of the athletes. He goes by Yoshi, and he's looking to go down in history as like the poser of natural bodybuilding. And I don't even like to say natural bodybuilding. Like, he's looking to go down in history as, one of the great posers of the sport, which I'm in complete support of, right? And I've been in the sport for 2 years, and from my perspective, when I think about the performance aspect of posing, it almost seems like we could do more with, I don't know, two people kind of going against each other, almost taking it to a level of communication or language in and of itself, where it's like a pose off, but not like a typical pose off the way that they've done it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that the way that bodybuilding competitions are currently being judged, you've got 5 or 6 people standing in a line, and they do the side-by-side comparisons, turn to the front, turn to the side, yada, yada, yada. From my perspective, that is not nearly as entertaining as if you have 2 people going head-to-head who have been like talking shit to each other for like the past 6 months, and now they're on stage, and it's like, okay, we're now communicating with our bodies. We are now communicating with our posing flows. And there's a level of, I don't know, I feel like that could be almost like a dance battle, but
Sure.
bodybuilding style, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that could be a segment that would allow rivalries to play out more fluidly than simply doing side-by-side comparisons, which I don't think gets people in seats. But I'm just thinking out loud.
No. I get where you're coming from. I was shocked. My last 2 competitions, like I said, I came in second in both of them, the 40 and over, and I wasn't expecting to have to pose off. And there was nothing put together. It was just get out there, and to be honest with you, I felt like that I missed the boat on that. And then I watched it afterwards. I was like, you know what? there's a lot of emotion there between the two of us, and even though we got along, we were at each other, and then you just sit there and go, man, that was just between me and him. That's all that was, and it showed. And I watched it afterwards. I was like, I actually did pretty damn good there. I was like, wow, that was a lot different than what I thought it was up in my head. Because you're not ready for something. You think everything's going to be choreographed, and you think everything's going to be, they're going to ask you to do side chest. They're going to ask, like being double by. You get asked those, you're ready for them. But when he said, well, these are our two contestants. These are our finalists, and we're going to have a pose off. And they put music on. I was like, yeah, there's something wrong about it. No doubt about it. You get some chirping, like, you get two guys chirping about their backs. Throughout the show. Is that what you do for your back? That's all you can lift. You get that going, and all of a sudden you get them both on stage. And all right, let's show each other who worked harder on their backs during this show. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's gonna work. Oh yeah, it's gonna work big time.
Nice. Yeah. Like conceptually speaking, I like, and it's a very loose concept. We'll obviously see it flesh out and take more shape over the course of the next couple of years. But I've really been thinking about, I like to liken this to a Star Wars franchise. And we've got like the light side and the dark side. Light side is natural, dark side is the enhanced side. And I see posing as like, and posing flows as sort of like lightsaber forms and lightsaber battles. And I would really like to start playing with this idea of pose off, but it's like each athlete is literally doing posing flows to make a compelling argument as to like, this is my level of mastery over my body, my physique, and I'm showing off my discipline through this flow. And it might be improvisational or slightly choreographed, and then the athlete is now responding to the flow that just ended. And we can like use emotion. And again, it requires training these athletes to like stop thinking like a bodybuilder and start thinking like a performer, start thinking like a showman. And we can show like how the face changes based off of the emotion that they're feeling and the logical flow of the posing, and really being emphatic with each movement. It becomes more about movement and less about like diet and exercise. And we'd be able to integrate all of it into like one cohesive product.
Absolutely. And it's weird because when I started this, never posed much in my life at all. I didn't. And it was a big learning curve for me, and I'm still just getting better as I go along, and I'm learning. And then I've watched you pose on your Instagram. Amazing poser, by the way. And then it got a couple of really good guys that here in Toronto that they're great posers. You watch them, and it's art, right? And I know I got a rhythm to me, and I'm finding that rhythm as I go along. And I really actually find it funny because when I'm finishing my first competition, I didn't feel this way. I was like, okay, I got it done, thank God. And then after that, every time I finished my next competition, I think about the posing, and I pose a bit more and I pose a bit more. And then my last couple, I've actually thrown some moves in because I get the rhythm that I have. Anyways, everybody has a different rhythm, and you just find, but you feel that it becomes a part of you, right? Like my coach said, I really see this song for you. And then when he gave me that song, I was like, wow, I see this. And I don't know if he saw me doing what I did with the song, but he saw that song. And then you work with your coach, and then it's such a big part of it. But I again talk about being the age I was during the 80s. There's cardboard boxes all over the place, man. Didn't matter if you were good or not, you still breakdanced. Everybody did, and that's what it was. You took your turn in the middle, and you're doing it against somebody. Whether you're good at it or not, it's what everybody did, and everybody wanted to do it. It was the way it was.
Yeah, man, I'm 100% on board. My roommate told me the story of you take like a violin aficionado who's performing at the highest level and packed orchestras and stuff like that, and let's say he's a soloist. They're trained to perform these very intricate songs and compositions. They contort their face, like when all that stuff. That's a performance. That's put on. They don't require, like their face is not required to make these facial expressions and emote. It's literally for the audience to connect closer with the material. So, and we're just driving it closer to the way that bodybuilding and natural bodybuilding is currently structured. It is not designed to be as optimally entertaining as possible. And my intention is to fix that over the course of my career, because I think we could all be making more money.
Yeah.
And it's got to come from entertainment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is entertainment. It is. When you're posing, when you're up there, you want to hear people scream. You want to hear people clap. You don't want people to just sit on their hands. You're up there to entertain. It's a competition, but you are entertainment. Somebody paid for a ticket. And these events, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I can't believe the amount of people that are going to these events right now. Natural side. It's crazy. And I love your enthusiasm for the natural physique, because I'm the same way. I find it incredible how large people can get, but I've never wanted to look that way. And I'm a huge Frank Zane fan. I am. And there's a story behind that. I told you my friend that passed away. He actually paid to spend a week with Frank Zane back in the early 2000s. He actually went up, lived with him for a week, and got a whole bunch of information. The biggest information that Frank Zane gave him was be yourself. Be yourself. Naturally be who you are. If you're looking at somebody else, I can't look at somebody that's 6'5", 300 pounds, because I'm not 6'5", 300 pounds. You know, I'm 6 feet, 210. Like, I mean, it is the way it is. Like, I mean, be the best you can be. Be the best that your genetics are giving you, right? Like, I mean, used to be 6'2", by the way. That's the worst part about getting old.
I love it, man. This was awesome. This was great. You're a genuine guy. You're a very genuine guy. I hope to do this more often with you, man.
Yeah, me too, man.
Do you have you got any closing thoughts on your end before I go hit leg day?
I'm in the gym too. I just got to say, man, I think you're onto something big. You're really onto something big. To watch this unfold is going to be fun. It really is. Like, you got a lot going for you, and I think you see something that I'm sure people saw before, but you're mixing a couple of really good ideas and really good concepts.
Yeah, I think what a lot of the other people who have attempted something like this didn't do is they leave out the power of myth. And I have been a very strong believer in the power of myth. That's what made Star Wars popular. That's what made Lord of the Rings popular. That's what made animes, Dragon Ball Z. You know, like that's me as a storyteller. I believe in magical realism. I believe in, if you sit and just look at the beauty of the world, it's not grounded in the boring, mundane. It's grounded in the spectacular. And I'm looking to create spectacular moments within the sport of natural bodybuilding, and then have a great career in movies. So
I like it, man. I like it. I really do. And you just make sure you give me an autograph when you get there. That's for sure.
Dude, we're working together, bro. We're working together.
All right. Don't leave me behind. That's for sure.
You got it.
I tell you, we're blessed every day. Like, I mean, that's the biggest thing. We're blessed with the healthiness of knowing we can do this, right? And that's the message out there to send people, is that, you know, God gave you this. Like, I mean, don't sit on a couch. Like, I mean, you're blessed. Like, I mean, don't get into bad habits. This is a good habit to get into. And, you know, like, in life, boring without habits. Like, let's face it. You have to have a habit. This is a great one to have.
Man, I could not agree more. Let us continue to chat. I'm so glad that we have made this connection, and let's just keep working in this career and continue to grow together, man.
Perfect, Shaun. Great meeting you, man.
Great chatting with you, brother. Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon, man.
All right.